Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to look at sketching quadratics. If you've completed the previous quadratic videos, then today's lesson will be a lot easier for you. In specific, these are the characteristics of quadratic functions that you need to know very well. X and Y intercepts, vertex, factoring, quadratic formula, and completing the square. So we're going to be using all of that in today's lesson. And so if there's some of this that you're not familiar with, go ahead and watch the previous quadratic videos that are in the Pre-Calculus 11 playlist. And I'll put a link to in the description below. So let's get started. In today's lesson, you may approximate values to 2 decimal places. And so there are a few key items on a graph: X and Y intercepts, the vertex, and then points around the vertex. If the question does not specify what needs to be on the graph, you may sketch it however you like. So let's dive right in. Example 1, sketch the following quadratics. Your graph must include the X and Y intercepts. So in this particular question, we must have X and Y intercepts on our graph. So here's our first one, f of x equals x squared plus x minus 6. So we'll start with some intercepts. Y-intercept occurs when x is 0. So we plug in x equals 0 and we get negative 6 as the y-intercept. For the x-intercept, that occurs when y equals to 0. So we have our function equals 0. And in this case, we can factor it. It's pretty easy. So product negative 6, sum is 1. Those two numbers is 3 and negative 2. So we can rewrite this as such like that. And so what are the values that you plug in to get 0? Negative 3 and 2. And so those are our x-intercepts. Now the vertex is in the middle of the x-intercept. So we got negative 3 plus 2 divided by 2 gives us the middle. And so that case is negative 0.5. And to get the y value at that, we plug it in, negative 0.5, and we get negative 6.25. All right, so what do we have? We have y-intercept, x-intercept, and the vertex. And so there you go. So x-intercept, negative 3 and 2 like that, y-intercept at 6, and the vertex just beside it there at negative 0.5, comma, negative 6.25. And so there is the graph of our quadratic. B, g of x equals 2 times x minus 1 squared minus 3. So we want y-intercept. This occurs when x equals 0. So we plug in x equals 0 and we get negative 1. So the y-intercept is at y equals negative 1. X-intercept. This occurs when y is equal to 0. So we have our function equal to 0 like that. Plus 3 to both sides, divide by 2 on both sides, square root both sides like that. So we got x minus 1 equals plus or minus root 3 over 2. So we have two solutions, 1 plus root 3 over 2 and 1 minus root 3 over 2 like that, right? We did plus 1 to both sides here. So this is approximately 2.22 and this is approximately negative 0.22 like that. Our vertex, very easily, it's 1 comma negative 3. We've seen that before. So there's our vertex there. And so here's our graph. We got the intercepts, y-intercept, and the x-intercepts, and then the vertex right there. Okay, C. H of x equals 2x squared minus 3x minus 3. So y-intercept occurs when x equals 0. Plug in x equals 0, we get negative 3. So that's our y-intercept there. X-intercept, this occurs when y equals 0. So we have our function equals 0 like that. We're going to use the quadratic formula. Plug in a as 2, b as negative 3, and c as negative 3 like that. And so we get 3 plus or minus root 33 over 4. So we have two solutions, plus root 33 and minus root 33 like that. Therefore, our x-intercepts are approximately 2.19 and negative 0.69, approximately like that. The vertex is in the middle, so we have add them up, divide by 2 like that, which gives 3 over 4, which is 0.75. And to know the height, the y value at 0.75, we plug that in, and which gives us negative 4.13. And so here are our x-intercepts, y-intercept of negative 3, and our vertex right there as such. Okay, practice. Time for you guys to do some sketching. Sketch the following quadratics. Your graph must include the x and y intercepts. So we have A, B, and C like that. Go ahead and pause the video and sketch that. Okay, A, f of x equals x squared minus 3 plus 3x minus 4 like that. We can factor that, which becomes x minus 1 times x plus 4. So the y-intercept occurs when x equals 0. So we plug in x equals 0, we get negative 4 like that. X-intercept occurs when y is equal to 0. So the function equals 0 like that. So what do you plug in to get 0? 1 and negative 4 like that. Vertex is in the middle of the x-intercept, so we add that, divide by 2, which gives negative 1.5. Plug in negative 1.5 to get the y value, negative 6.25 like that. So there's our vertex, y-intercept at negative 4, and then there are the x-intercepts like that, 1 and negative 4. Okay, B. G of x equals negative 2 times x plus 2 squared plus 3. Y-intercept occurs when x equals 0. So we plug that in and we get negative 5 like that. So that's our y-intercept at negative 5. X-intercept occurs when y equals 0. So we plug in function equals 0 like that. Minus 3 to both sides, divide by negative 2 to both sides, square root both sides like that. And so we have x equals minus 2 plus root 3 over 2. And x equals negative 2 minus root 3 over 2. And so this is negative 0.78 approximately, and negative 3.22 like that. Vertex, negative 2, 3, right? Plug negative 2, 3, that's our vertex like that. So we plug in our vertex, we have our x-intercepts and our y-intercept down here at negative 5. Okay, C. H of x equals 3x squared minus 4x minus 3 like that. Y-intercept occurs when x equals 0. Plug that in, we get negative 3 like that. X-intercept occurs when y is 0, so we have our function equals 0. We're going to use the quadratic formula here, and we get two possibilities, 4 plus root 52 over 6 and 4 minus root 52 over 6 like that, which is approximately these values here. Vertex is in the middle. We add them up, divide by 2, which gives 0.66. Plug in 0.66 to get our y value like that, so negative 4.33. And so here we are, vertex, y-intercept negative 3, and then the x-intercepts there as such. Okay, example 2. Sketch the following quadratics. Your graph must include the vertex. So here our first question, f of x, 2 times x minus 1 squared minus 2. The vertex is at 1, negative 2 like that. We're going to look at some points that are around the vertex. So x equals 0 and x equals 2 are around the vertex like that. So f of 0 gives 0. F of 2 gives 0 like that. So here are our important points. We have the vertex 1, negative 2, 0, 0 here, and 2, 0 there as such. And so there's the graph of our quadratic. B. G of x equals 3x squared, negative 3x squared minus 6x minus 4 like that. We are going to complete the square to get the vertex. So we're going to factor out negative 3 from the first two terms like that. Over 2 squared to get 1. So we go plus 1 minus 1 like that. This reduces to x plus 1 squared. Distribute negative 3 like that. Negative 4 plus 3 gives negative 1 like that. And so here is our other form. So we see the vertex very easily, negative 1 like that. Okay, so our vertex, negative 1. Points around the vertex would be 0 and negative 2 as x values. Plug in 0, we get negative 4. Plug in negative 2, and we get negative 4 like that. And so here's our vertex, negative 1, and then 0, negative 4 is here, and negative 2, negative 4 is there like that. Okay, time for some practice for you guys. Practice number 2. Sketch the following quadratics. Your graph must include the vertex. So here's A and here's B. Go ahead and pause the video and answer that. Okay, we're back. So here's our f of x here. Our vertex is 3, 1 like that. Points near the vertex are x equals 2 and x equals 4. Plug that in, x equals 2, we get 0. X equals 4, we get 0 like that. And so here is the vertex and the 2 points near the vertex like that. And so there's the graph of our quadratic. Okay, B. G of x equals 2x squared plus 8x plus 9. We're going to complete the square. So we're going to factor out 2 from the first two terms here. 4 divided by 2 squared gives 4, so plus 4 minus 4. This reduces to x plus 2 squared from here like that. Distribute the 2 as such. 9 minus 8 is 1 like that, and so there is our other form. The vertex is negative 2, 1 like that. Points around the vertex would be x equals negative 1 and x equals negative 3, we're like that. So we plug in negative 1, we get 3. Plug in negative 3, we get 3 like that. So here's our vertex and our 2 points around the vertex. And so there's the graph of our quadratic. And that's it. It's that easy. I'll see you guys in the next video.